All right, this is theedgeonair.com. It's the Advocates for Change. Everett O'Neill, Tim Funches, Paul Shivari here. We're entering the home stretch. 630-785-2510 is the number. Call in with comments, questions, or if you just want to let it all out, we're here. It's been a very productive day. Special thanks to Naima Jackson, Calvin Calico Coleman for calling in and giving their stories and, just what it is they're contributing to, to the betterment of our community. But once again, we're going to focus more on the positives. I don't know what's going on right now, but just keep going. Improvise.
Yeah, we don't have our caller. Not yet.
Okay.
I hadn't had a chance to yet. I wanted to say we're talking about some of the different things back. We were kind of talking about the kind of different social activities, different things in the community that youth can do to kind of keep themselves out of trouble. And we were also kind of touching upon maybe the lack of a parental figure. One charity I'm really passionate about that a friend of mine works for that I have donated to is Big Brothers Big Sisters.
Yeah.
Especially the Chicago chapter as well. I have a friend that works there, and they'll have various different types of fundraisers, and I've helped her out where unfortunately on the nonprofit level sometimes the people that work there have to do things to kind of help motivate their individual donations that they achieve, and they, so it was, that's usually when I get involved with that sort of thing.
Absolutely. So yeah, Big Brother Big Sister is definitely something that a lot of us should probably look at. We have our next guest on the line. We have Kevin Ferguson of the Ray organization, if I'm correct.
Yes.
How's it going, Kevin? Thanks. Welcome to the show.
Oh, it's going good. Thanks for having me.
Oh, not a problem. So we're Advocates for Change, and we've been spending about the past hour and a half, just talking about a lot of the nonsense that's been happening, not only in the town, in the city of Chicago, but also, with the recent tragedies in Ferguson, and just, it's a culmination of a lot of things. You have stories like Michael Brown and the Trayvon Martins and the Oscar Grants. You have the 9-year-old who was executed last week, and people are frustrated, and I guess the question that I was posing, that I want to pose to you is, tell us a little bit about your organization and, the objectives that, you're trying to come across.
Well, the organization, Ray Organization, is an acronym for Reclaiming Youth. And what we really want to do is we want to get out to the community and do just that, reclaiming youth. We want to reclaim the youth by showing positivity in the community. We want to provide them with outlets. We want to provide them with investment strategies. We want to provide them with things to do, such as going to the Chicago Sky, women's basketball, sometimes the NBA games. We've had picnics. But the main goal of Ray is it's a scholarship organization as well. And what we want to do is we want to reach back into the community that is affected by violence, is affected by, youth being shot, killed, taken from their families, just don't have any way to look for a role model. I am the chairman of what's called the Youth Advisory Committee, and what that portion of Ray does is speak directly to the youth in certain age brackets. There is 5 to 11, 11 to 15, and 15 to 21, which I'm trying to expand that a little greater. And what we do is we just outreach. We stay in the youth ear. We talk to them via social media. We have events that they can come to. We have picnics, banquets. We have a Watch Your Manners class where the youth are starting to learn manners again, chivalry. I mean, think about it. When's the last time you've seen somebody 14 or 15 out on a first date, open the door for a young lady? Do they know what fork to use when they're out? If you begin to teach the youth some of these things to help mature them, they can take all of that energy that they're putting out to the street into something positive, and that's the main objective of RED.
Good. Now, you're constantly in interaction with the youth. Tell us, what the mindset and energy is like with some of them.
The mindset of the youth. I mean, honestly, it's some good kids out here. A lot of them feel like nobody cares. They feel like that people are just kind of going their own way and leaving them to raise themselves. And they're not blaming their parents. I believe that they feel like the community is that way. You know, I feel like they have a lot of just pent up energy that's just misdirected. They want somebody to take them under their wing and show them something. I really think they're starting to get bored with traditional style of doing things. They're actually really smart, but we treat them like they're not that smart. And when I say we, I mean the older generation tends to treat them like they're not that smart. And that's because a lot of times we don't understand their creativity. We don't understand their communication style. And I just feel like that they're looking for a lifeline, somebody out there to help direct them and guide them. And that's what I'm hearing from all the youth out there, that the older generation is just kind of leaving us to die.
Actually, that is a great point, because that's not something that we talked about, is, you know, the age gap. You know, it's a different time. You know, a lot of our grandparents came up a different way, and, you know, now it's 2014. And so, you know, those norms are kind of dying off, and, you know, new ways of life and, you know, outlooks and lifestyles are changing. And, you know, a lot of the older people don't really want to bother to understand, you know, the youth. And I mean, you know, the people in the studio, we aren't that old, and so we can relate. You know, a lot of us grew up in that time too. And I was just wondering, you know, as, you know, young adults, you know, how can we help bridge that gap?
You know, that's a tough one. I think that as a young person, bridging that gap with your parents is a little bit more difficult than parents trying to bridge that gap with you. But I would say that what we should do as young adults is try to meet in the middle somewhere. Understand that your parents are not accustomed to reading a text message all the time, and you guys are accustomed to reading a text message. You know, you guys, we all need to come together and kind of get a common way of communicating and interacting. I think we as older people, we have to understand that you communicate a lot different than what we did. We didn't have cyberbullying. There was no such thing. A bully had to be tough and big and really able to knock me out in order to be a bully. Now, I mean, it could be a little pipsqueak behind a computer and bully somebody. We didn't have that when we were younger. So it takes the adults to say, you know what, this is a whole different time, this is a whole different era, and to reach out and try to understand that. But it also takes the youth to kind of mature a little bit, say, you know what, I understand that I communicate different than my parents, and instead of getting on social media and blasting my parents out to a group of people who have not been through anything, who may be, let's say that you're 19 and 25, and something goes on in your life, you get on social media, well, more than likely you're speaking to 19 to 25-year-olds, and they're going through the same thing, and they can't help get you out of it. Instead of doing that, what you should do is go to your parents or go to somebody who has kind of been through it that you trust. And once that begins to happen, we can bridge the gap of communication, because the youth are reaching out on the platform that the adults can understand, and that will start to yield the adults to reach out to the youth on a platform that they can understand. So it's just going to take some social maturity as a whole to really bridge the gap.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm going to try to tie all this together. All right. So we were just talking about the bridging of the gap, and we're talking about your program. A little earlier, you know, we were talking about programs, you know, that would give the youth, you know, a means to, you know, to give them some sense of worth, because the problem is that, you know, some of the youth in these areas don't feel like they have anything to provide to society. You know, a lot of us were fortunate to, you know, involve ourselves in programs. Like I said earlier, I was involved in sports. You know, I did theater. Mainly sports, you know, provided me with the idea that, you know, I mean something to someone, and that, you know, nothing happens if I don't contribute. And, you know, they just need to, what am I trying to say here? Back me up. I guess, like, they need something. They need something to mean something. They need to mean something. And, you know, Big Brothers, Big Sisters, the Ray organization are all, you know, good foundations for that.
Right.
But, you know, we can only be with them for so long. And a recent a guest from not too long ago was saying that, how can we make sure that, that mindset stays implemented once they go home.
Mhm.
And I just wanted to know, like, what's your idea on that, or your thoughts?
Well, I would say that you're absolutely right. We need to continue to grow the community of organizations that actually reach out, so that mindset continues. That means that we honestly need to form organizations for better parenting. Let me, as a 35-year-old, own this for a minute. And what we do as parents nowadays, and I'm probably not guilty of it because I'm not 50 and I don't have a 20-year-old. But what I'm seeing that the parents of today that have a 17-year-old, a 15-year-old, or these kids that are out terrorizing the neighborhood, what we're doing is we're leaving those kids to raise themselves. We're leaving those kids to an organization like Ray or Big Brother Big Sister because they're supposed to do it. Because I'm so busy running the rat race trying to get mine, right? I was 16 when I had my child, but now I'm 26, and my child is 10. I'm still trying to get on in life. We really need to start an organization that can help parents that are 20 to maybe 30, 35 to continue to instill these things. Big Mama's raising them now. But what happens when Big Mama passes on? Little Mama or the real mom is not even equipped herself to instill any of the morals or, as you just put it, to reiterate some of the concepts that we're teaching their children in an organization like Big Brother Big Sister or Ray of Illinois or Youth Advisory Council. So what needs to happen, I think the best thing, or one of the biggest things that we can do to help change the community is actually, I don't want to call it parenting class, but an organization that opens it up to young parents to give them some of the same concepts that we're trying to give their children so that when it goes home, just like homework, if you're not good in math and your parents aren't good at math, over for you. Well, think about this. If your mom's not good at life and you're in an environment that you're probably not going to be good in life, well, it's over for you. So how do you change that? What you have to do is, just like your homework, you got to go get a tutor. And I think an organization that provides like a tutor to the parent will really help to really bridge it, to really help to reiterate and reinforce these things that are going home. Because we can do everything forever and ever and ever. Your coach, you said you played sports. Your coach could motivate you. Your coach could say, hey, you know what? You're going to be great. You got leadership beyond a shadow of a doubt, and you're going to be awesome one day. But when you go home and your mother doesn't understand how to reinforce that, and she says, you ain't going to be nothing. You lazy just sitting there watching scandal all day. Well, what is that doing to your psyche, and who are you going to follow? And I think the choice that's being made is that they're following the parent that's downing them more often than the coach. Because you might follow the coach, but what about all the other 40 or 50 kids that were on that team? What about, the thug on the corner who, he rose up in his, what we got now, A7 or in his Escalade, and he got something. And so I'm going to follow him because coach, he ain't doing nothing with his life. He's just a coach. And so I think we need something like that put in place as a society. I mean, I think that is probably the easiest way to fix the problem. Sorry for getting long-winded there, but I'm happy.
That's okay, man. You got some pretty awesome points and definitely in depth because we needed to get there, So, and first off, I want to thank you for taking the time to come on and and speak with us and talk about your organization. From what I understand, you have a lot more going on as well too, motivational speaking, and just building up individuals to be better at life, so to speak. So I definitely have to say thank you for providing us with a little bit of the insight that you guys have, and we look forward to attending a couple of those events over there, Ray.
Oh, well, we definitely look forward to having you.
Okay. So I appreciate you again, man. Once again, this was Kevin Ferguson of the Ray Organization.
Just a quick question. How can people get involved with the Ray Organization?
You can get involved with the Ray Organization. You can actually find us on Facebook, and that's just Ray, R-A-Y, Reclaim the Youth, or anybody who is interested wants to speak with me to get on the Youth Advisory Council can reach out to just myself at Kevin Ferguson 2009 at Hotmail. and then we'll just link up from there.
All right, thank you so much. Kevin Ferguson of the Reagan Organization here on Advocates of Youth. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to wrap things up. It's theedgeonair.com, Advocates for Youth. Advocates for Change.